You're listening to the Salopian Mixtape with me, Michaela Wild.
And me, Simon Berry.
And we're in a lovely surrounding at the moment, and I've already eaten half a cake, so I'm having quite a nice afternoon.
It's quite a nice place to come and record, because there is cake and coffee on hand. We're at the Turned Wood Cafe at the Flax Mill in Shrewsbury. Very kindly have let us record the podcast, and have a chat with a very special guest.
Well, hi, and thanks for having me, first of all. It's great to be here on your fantastic podcast. It's been a bit of a journey the last couple of years. We were about to release some new Rainbreakers stuff probably 3 years ago now, and of course COVID hit, and that killed off a lot of the industry for a long time. Like no one was able to tour or gig or go and do anything. Lots of, as we all know. And during that time, we were approached by some people. They asked us, would we be interested in writing? We said yeah. So we ended up writing with Mikey Demas from Skindred, of all people. Not someone I thought we'd be writing with at all. Because I was like, we don't play metal or reggae at all. But it turns out, not as he's a prolific songwriter. He's interested in all sorts of genres of music, but top guy as well. So he spent a lot of time going up and down to Brighton and back when we were allowed to, obviously. To write with him, and we also then worked with the producer James Loffrey, who's recorded Reef and Skindred, and as well as Sophie Ellis-Bextor, who's worked on the Murder on the Dance Floor, which has recently become hugely popular again. So we got to write and record with these wonderful people, initially with the view to kind of probably rock us up a little bit more, I think. Not something I particularly was. Not really my kind of vibe. I was like, I want to sing more than I want to kind of rock out so much sometimes. And so we kept writing, and then we ended up we were just writing songs. We just start the day and be like, you're here for 3 days, you've got to write 4 songs. So you're like, okay. So it's like you're under that kind of, under the cosh, as it were, to make sure you write something. So you kind of let the songs lead you, and just like, we're writing a song today, and that's what it sounds like today.
How did you get to be working with these amazing people, like Mikey Demas from Skindred? How does that interaction with someone like that, who's had a number 2 album last year?
Yeah.
How does that even come about?
We were quite lucky, I guess. We'd been working closely with someone. We'd hired a PR agent, and we were struggling with trying to get onto radio and stuff, and finding the general avenues and the gatekeepers into the industry challenging. So we said, look, we want to mix this up. Something's got to change. We can't we were trying to make a career out of what we're doing, and it's very hard to do that. We cut our teeth a lot as Rainbreakers, gigging around. Probably did 1,000 shows. We toured all over Europe, all over the UK. We still never got paid. It's the realism of it. We got paid to do these things, but we individually didn't get paid. It costs a lot of money to get yourself around the country, and we needed something to change. And she said, well, look, I'll put you in touch with someone you can speak to, and we did. And that just opened some channels of communications, and then we found ourselves in that situation, really.
And I mean, as a band, as Rainbreakers, you spent a lot of time putting that groundwork in, doing all that gigging, and building, a big fan base. I mean, you have got a big following of people that love your music and are big fans of you guys as a group. What's it been like to kind of put yourselves out there since changing to Acrobat? Did you feel tentative about doing that with the fan base, or did you feel quite positive they'd be supportive?
I think we went through all of those emotions, if I'm honest. So when we were first sort of approached with the idea, and it didn't happen like, oh, you're just going to be Acrobat now. It didn't happen like that. We'd written these songs, and we'd spent some time with them, and we were all feeling, half the band are actually only the original members now, and so it kind of changed direction by accident. It just had. And I think when we thought about we'd like to change the name of it, we kind of felt a bit more invigorated and a bit more excited, and a bit more passionate maybe again. And we thought that's a good thing to follow. So that was our initial thoughts. And then when it, like you say, in the last few weeks, months, when we came to we're going to have to start telling people, I think we were definitely this is going to be interesting to see what happens next. And there may be some people that don't want to follow it anymore, and there might be new people that want to follow it, and all of the above is okay, because it's respectfully our journey to go on, and we'd love people to come with us on it, but we're just excited to be continuing to make music, really.
Are you happier now with the sound of Acrobat compared with Rainbreakers?
I don't think I'd ever compare it like that. I think it would be more of it's just different now, and like as an artist or as a creator, you want to keep creating things that make you feel good. I think we went through a whole mix of emotions. I think, there was times when we were like, oh, what is this? What are we doing? There are people being much more direct with us about what we should play, what we should sing. So, I was literally being told, like, you need to sing this, you need to sing it like that, deliver it like this. And that was compared to what we'd done previously, which was basically we went into a studio, the four of us, with ideas we had written. And I think a lot of bands will do a similar thing. They'll be in a rehearsal room trying to write that way. But this was like, we were what they called in the box, which is, sat in the producing room with the songwriter, with the producer, going, right, we're going to sort of build a song up from the ground up rather than doing it as a live band. And that was an interesting process. But once we kind of got into it and understood it more, I think we learned a lot about songwriting, and how there are things there are good things that you can learn to sort of encourage listeners to enjoy your writing process more and sort of latch onto it more quickly.
I suppose as well, having the direction of people that are super experienced and worked in different genres and stuff as well, it's like, when you're playing a sport, if you play people that are really, really great at a certain sport, it helps you to up your game even further. I mean, for you as a vocalist, having really specific direction of ways to use your voice and utilise your skills in slightly different ways, has that kind of helped you to progress further, do you think?
I think so. I think it helped us all. My interpretation of what has happened in this process to us has been really like I think we'd avoided our own essence of who we were, and I think these people helped us find that by because you have to sort of let your own ego out of the room, basically. There's no point in going like, well, I want it to be like this, when there's a songwriter who's had a number 2 album, as you've rightly pointed out, and a producer that's been involved in hits all over. You've got to go like, well, I should listen to what they're saying, rather than just let my own creative ego get in the way and be like, well, I want it to be this way. And I think we all battled with that a little bit. It's the truth, but at the same time, I think it was David Bowie, doesn't it? That said that like, if you're not experiencing like stress or frustration with it, then you're not growing. And I think that's what we wanted to do, was grow. So it's like, well, this is going to hurt a little bit. It's like going through puberty or something,
Growing pains, yeah. It's just try not to get too stroppy and clean your bedroom.
Yeah, effectively. Yeah.
Pick your socks up off the floor now.
Oh, I'm getting flashbacks. Unbelievable. So tell us about where you've recorded all this music then.
Well, we were really, really lucky. So we got to go to live-in studios, which was really exciting. So you could wake up and just roll out of bed and be in a recording studio. And we spent time at Rockfield down in Monmouthshire, which is obviously the world famous studio. I'm not a particularly spiritual person, but I definitely felt like there was hallowed ground there. It felt like there was an energy. I can't think of someone that hasn't been to there. It's such an amazing studio. We actually recorded in the Quadrangle. I believe I slept in Freddie Mercury's bedroom while I was there. I didn't know that. I went for the furthest room away from the studio, because I was like, I just wanted to be quiet, because I'd struggle to sleep if there's any noise. But yeah, so that was an experience. And we also went to another fabulous studio called Vada or Vader, however you like to say it. I think he's a bit of a Star Wars fan. So there was, that's another fantastic studio. That's over sort of in the Worcestershire area, I think.
Yeah, I think it's right on the Worcestershire border.
Yeah. And fantastic. It's like an amalgamation of loads of old buildings over the years that have been sort of stuck together or added on. And I think that the actual live room is like a 900-year-old chapel that's been converted into a live recording space. Again, that was a fantastic studio. But these are high-pressure situations as well. So like, we'd be there for like, I don't know, 10, 15 days at a time. And it's like, you've got to finish, and like sometimes we were writing and recording at the same time. So like, you've got 6 songs to do in that time, which sounds like ages, but you guys will know that.
That creativity and pressure don't always go hand in hand, because ideas spark to you, don't they? Being forced to try and be creative on the spot can be extremely, extremely challenging. Tell us about the first release then, so Neon has come out, it's out in the world, and it sounds brilliant, and it looks like you've been getting really great feedback from it, from what I've seen online certainly. What's it been like to get it out and about?
Oh, great! It's been like a big release, to be honest with you. I think it's because that song was finished over a year ago, so like we've had to be extremely patient as to like, you know, the way the industry works and how things are going. It's like there's no point just going, oh, there you go, have it, listen to it. It's like, why? What are you going to do with it? What's the plan behind it? Otherwise, you're just dropping it into an ether of, you know, there's 100,000 songs a day on Spotify, so it's like, what's the purpose behind it? But it's certainly been exciting to get it out there and let people hear what we've been up to. I think we were definitely a bit nervous. I remember me and Sam, the drummer, we were up until midnight trying to waiting for it to drop. Is it going to happen? Because equally we were told, we've had this song for like a year, and we were told, yeah, that song's got to come out on the 23rd of Feb, but they only told us with it like 5 weeks ago. So we were like, well, that's not, you know, through distribution and stuff, that can be complicated, you know, because we're still doing these things, we're still making it happen and go out online, and you know, you'll know it takes they advise 6 weeks minimum. We're like, oh, we've had a year, you could have told us anyway, you know.
And I suppose it was laying the stepping stones for this kind of rebranding as well, because obviously you've had to do that over the past few weeks to try and get the buzz building up, let people know that something's going to be happening, and kind of then going, right, here we go, surprise, this is what's going on. But I mean, I guess the relief for it must be quite staggering. Yeah,
and there's also the whole, like, after it comes out, you're like, oh right, it's out now then. Do you know what I mean? Like,
oh, is that it?
Yeah. Well, there is that kind of feeling as well. But you know, it's just nice to be able to be doing stuff. And I think we've been sounding it for so long that we just like, you know, it's not new to us, unfortunately. But it's new. What is new is that it's people hearing it and having their response, and we appreciate everyone who's wants to stay with us on the journey, who's gone, it's not for me, but wish you all the luck. That's cool as well. You know, we're just glad to still be able to create music and get it out there to the world. Really, it's genuinely an honour, isn't it? It's a privilege to be able to do these things.
How much more music do you have in store then? You've obviously been at various recording studios, you've been sitting on music for over a year.
Yeah.
How much is there to come? Is there an EP, an album, a 10-box set album? Acrobvt songs?
I actually still have no idea what the plan is for us at the moment. I know that we've got 25 songs we wrote over a couple of year period, which was, well, yeah, it's quite a lot of material. Equally, we've got more ideas we're still working on as well, and I think we will be tasked with further writing in the near future, which I actually really enjoy. I think what my favourite part of what we do is those little moments that when you're writing or whatever, and you go like, oh, this is cool, and you go off and do your thing. So there's definitely a lot more material to come out, but I have no idea when, what it looks like. I just know there's more music coming, and we're excited to share it, because there's like, Neon's a great song and we're very pleased with it. It's a great first single, but my personal opinion, I think there's some better ones to come yet. So
it's not a bad way to start off then, is it?
Yeah, that's a nice position to be in though. That's kind of like, here we are, here's what we do, and it sounds mega, but to know that you've got some other tunes on the way that you're even more passionate about, that must give that little spark of excitement to be able to look forward rather than going, right, well, I don't know what to do now, twiddling my thumbs, waiting in between the releases. Yeah,
that's definitely a positive thing for us, and that's a positive thing with us in the industry as well, that they're kind of like, oh, you've already got this big body of work behind you, which gives us this sort of track record, and they're going like, well, I guess it gives us sort of kudos to say, well, we can go and do more of this. If you want to go put us in a room with so and so, we can write that and we can try these things. You know, a lot of this stuff over the last 12 months, we've kind of been market testing it effectively by sending it to certain gatekeepers within the industry and saying like, what do you think? You know, do you like it? Do you like, you know, radio pluggers and various people saying like, what are your opinions really? And the opinions are that they really love it and they want to get first dibs on it, which is really exciting for us.
Absolutely. What's the plan for live stuff? Are you going to be getting out and performing in front of people anytime soon?
Yeah, we are. That's been a big whirlwind as well. So we had the offer come in to go to LA, which is a huge deal, and we were very excited about that. And although we're very sort of a very gig hardened band in our past. We also hadn't gigged this band, and it's changed format, it's changed genre, it's changed how it looks in its sort of physical setup on stage. You know, normally when we, as Rainbreakers, we spent years building our portfolio of songs, and we'd end up in a place of going, oh, you know, we'll add this new song in, one new song in a set. This is 15 brand new songs that we've never played live for. And for me, and I think the band feels similarly, until we've played it live, I don't really know it. Yeah. Then I feel like I know the song. I'm like, now I remember the lyrics. Now I remember what I do, how it feels. So it's, you know, it's one thing to do that with one song, to do it with the 15 songs. So I think that we're all very excited, also a bit like, just want to kind of break the back of it and do the first gig. We'd be like, oh, no one died. You know what I mean? Because it's very different from us. This is like, we used to be literally plug it all in and go, basically. This is all through with performance with backing tracks. This is within ear, so we're playing to click. I'm not with a guitar on stage anymore.
How does that feel?
Very naked.
What do you do with your hands?
Yeah. Can't keep them in my pockets. So I mean, so the first thing I did was go with a radio mic because I felt more comfortable rather than just being stuck to a stand. But it's still I'm very nervous about that. It's not my, you know, I think you can hide behind an instrument quite a lot. So that's going to be an interesting process.
It's definitely a comfort blanket. I mean, I feel strange if I'm ever singing with that piano in front of me, and I think guitarists especially, because it's like physically attached to you, isn't it? You've got that little barrier that's between you and the audience as well. It's almost a hold.
And it's something to look at as well, rather than having to pierce into somebody's soul with your eyes. You can just go, focus on the fretboard. Focus on the fretboard.
And also, the audience will do that as well. So you'll find that, you know, whilst you're singing, people will be looking at you. They'll also be looking at what you're doing with your guitar. So I suppose not having that is completely. There's no dance routines or anything, is there? That's not going to be the next.
Say that.
Is that the next thing to introduce?
No. I guess it's just learning about, you know, another level of performance, another level of like what you can do as a singer, and just relaxing and enjoying the process. And you know, it's not always, you know, we're a band, and that's what we always want to be. I mean, there's a lot of focus on the top line now, as opposed perhaps there's more less of like as a guitar band than it was before. But it's just another thing, and it's another part of growing as a musician. I could be playing guitar on some songs, but we kind of were like, prefer not to. So we're like, well, let's go with that then.
I bet your hands are pleased because the little kind of pads.
They're going soft. I need to play more guitar, but no, it's cool. I feel positive about it. Nervous, but I think that's all good feelings to have. I'd be worried if we were all like, yeah.
Nerves are good though, aren't they? Because it's that adrenaline that kind of makes you want to really go for it.
And if you weren't nervous, that would say that you don't care.
Yeah. We care infinitely about this project. You know, we're very, very passionate about it. It's been a long time in the making. At any point in the last couple of years, we could have been like, we weren't even getting to gig. You know, like that's the big thing. At least, fair enough, we didn't earn any, like individually earn any money maybe as Rainbreakers, but we got to gig and we loved it. And we, you know, go out to a show, whether it's to 10 people, 50 people, 1,000 people, we had a great time. And like, but we weren't getting even that release, and we're sort of like still doing all the sort of silly jobs in between, but not. And we're like, what are we doing? Why am I doing this? Why is everyone, especially with lockdown and opening up, everyone's going like getting on with their lives. We were still in kind of lockdown mode. Like the band didn't suddenly go out and gig or do anything. So that was really hard to sort of. And we were pleased for people, but it was equally, you know, jealous maybe is the right word, or just finding it hard to watch everyone else go out and do these things. And we're like, still can't go and do that, and we can't even explain why at this moment. So it's, but yeah, we definitely care a lot about it all.
It must be a real thrill to know that you're going to be getting back to doing the gigging again and getting this music out there. In terms of what you can tell us about what the bigger picture is and how much you know, what's the rest of the year got in store as a band?
I actually have no idea.
No idea.
We were talking, me and my brother on the phone yesterday, and we were talking, we were like, what happens when we get back from LA? And I was like, I don't know. I have no idea. We have to be ready for whatever comes next. This LA venture is quite an important part of this story for us. You know, it's an opportunity to perform in front of basically 300 people that work high up in the music industry. like the heads of record labels, A&R guys, people that make decisions around whether your song gets into a TV or film for Netflix or Warner or whatever. It's those people that are there, and it's been we were invited over by the guys that helped broker Coldplay, Adele, Muse and Keane into that world, into the States. So we're sort of, I guess we're kind of hopeful, but at the same time just going like, it's just another gig. We just got to go do our thing and see what comes out of it. Not too much, don't put too much pressure on it, but at the same time, we kind of like a little bit of pressure. Pressure. I think pressure's healthy.
Are you all in the same mindset that you're just gonna say yes to stuff when it happens? If an opportunity comes up, you're just like, yeah, we'll jump in with both feet and go for it.
Yes and no. I think I weirdly watched King Richard last night. About the Venus and Serena the tennis things, and they didn't just say yes to everything, and I was kind of like, yeah, there's a point to that sometimes. It's like, yes, in theory, it's like any opportunity that feels right and is good, we'll go for, but it has to sort of fit with who we are and who we want to be and what will make sense. And if something good comes in straight away, sometimes it's worth hanging on just see if someone else wants to say something as well.
Yeah, I think it sometimes can be better to have a more measured response to it and look at each opportunity with each inherent values to work out whether or not it's worth it in the long term, worthy of your time, because obviously you've been doing quite a lot and you're going to be doing quite a lot as well in the future. Picking the right things is probably a good way of starting your itinerary. And we're still an independent band, we're still doing this all away from the industry in effect, but we're also acutely aware that for anything to happen you need to start bringing players in within the industry, but you want to build that team around you carefully, and make sure that you've not only got a good working relationship with them, but also there's a sort of a passion from them about what you do as a creative, and they believe in it as well, rather than just seeing it as a business, because there are two sides to it.